Greetings, everyone. This is Sage Gerard, also known as Victor Zen.
This is Mike Stevenson, also known as Dr.
And we are here to talk to you a little bit about the recent blow-up at the Callgary Expo and the banishment of the Honey Badger Brigade and their booth. And just a quick recap on what's happened. Some of you may just be getting into the story, others may know what's already happened, but just for those of you who aren't totally aware, but when we were getting set up at the convention, Hannah Wallen of the Honey Badgers noticed some staff at the Callgary Expo overhearing conversation about them basically wanting to shut down booths, and they motioned towards ours. But later on, Allison Tiemann and myself went to a Women in Comics panel. And at this panel, Allison stood up and challenged a very harmful narrative that painted women as victims and men as perpetrators, and namely in representation of human beings in comic books. But what ended up happening as a result of this panel discussion was a Twitter storm and security ultimately coming in and telling us, not asking us, telling us that we got to get out. And as a result of this entire blow-up, you really need to understand that there was no policy violation whatsoever or any evidence.
Well, it wasn't necessarily just the harassment at the panel thing. It was the Game and Gate poster. It was all kinds of other things. There was the Mr. Tentacles thing.
Exactly.
It was whatever they can spin.
Whatever could be spun into just making it look like we were a threat to whatever safe space they were trying to create for. Safe space from what? Kind of the same kind of safe space they were building for that. The kindergarten environment they built for that those rape culture.
They're trying to create a positive environment for free speech. There's nothing negative, about what they've just done.
And obviously the opposition to censorship aspect of it was.
This will blow my mind until my dying day, I swear.
But we ended up having to pack up the booth a day after it was built. And as a result of this entire fiasco, Allison is basically just facing this huge hypocrisy where women in comics silence a woman who works in comics, writes comics, and has always been an advocate for writing genuine strength in characters.
We're not just men's rights advocates, by the way. We're women's rights advocates as well, as evidenced by Allison's little speech.
The entire point of this, the entire point of making an anti-censorship and pro-strength argument is all about getting getting past this victim narrative and this incredibly not only hypocritical but entitled mentality that's telling people that they have to they have to work according to an ideology. And you can go on YouTube right now to the Honey Badger Radio channel, and you can look at the panel discussion in full and Allison's speech in isolation. You have enough context there to see there was no harassment of any kind, but yet panelists, Expo staff, and I'm assuming parts of the audience in the panel discussion said that there was harassment because Allison stood up and said that we need to have equal compassion and actual strength, not victimization and ideology.
And just for the sake of reference, the thumbnail and backdrop was the poster that apparently some people found triggering.
It's absolutely just unbearable to me. But I was high strung all day, and I ended up having to a lot of things just bothered me that normally wouldn't, and it was a very stressful time for all of us.
We tried hugging. There was a moment where we just hugged for a long time.
It was an awful experience to know that basically somebody decided just by opinion alone that you're not even supposed to be there, just over a disagreement, not because no one did anything wrong. That's just the point. There was no policy violation, nothing. But we wanted to talk more about you, the patrons, those of you who were wanting to come to this convention and actually see the Honey Badgers. And now some of you you've spent money, you're on your way.
Some of you are going 36 hours on a coach.
We did not forget you. Just note this: we're doing everything we can to make sure that you actually get the interactions you were looking for, and you actually get to catch up. And we thank you again for all of your support, especially through this fiasco. As it stands right now, we are looking for a venue by which we can meet up in a public place. You can spend some time with us, and we would love to spend time with you as well. And as we learn the venue, we will put it here in the low bar of this video.
We're thinking of going to there's a park quite near the convention, quite near the Big Four. Where we're going to be just behind it near the river. Mm-hmm. We haven't quite confirmed this, but but we're going to try and see if we can sit there from the hours of 12 to 5 tomorrow, Saturday the 18th.
And a lot of this is preliminary because a lot of us were scatterbrained because this came as just totally blindsided us. But now we're getting a lot of media attention from it, and thankfully the public response, especially from the Gamergate side and those who are not completely insane, are taking the approach that hey, this is messed up. And the owner of all these conventions, the Fan Expo Canada, has banned Allison from having her presence in any of these expos across Canada. And because of their sheer size, it's amazing, because this really just throws a monkey wrench into her entire effort into building herself as a comic book artist. But we do ask that you support her work, because her work is absolutely incredible. There's a bunch of amazing things that she does, and really, people have tried to silence her because she's just not like the orthodoxy. And as long as you are willing to fight censorship, please remember people like Allison, because she's willing to stand up and make that statement. So, again, venue in the low bar. That will be updated as we go, so please keep refreshing the page. Sorry we didn't know that before we got started here, but again, we're getting a lot of things sorted out as we speak. But if you have any additional questions, we also have a press release on honeybadgerbrigade.com. Go to the latest blog post, and any press inquiries can be directed there. Be sure to follow the Twitter feed for Honey Badger Radio. Also, that's in the low bar. And any questions, comments you have, please, by all means, leave them. Do we have any last thoughts or anything that we're forgetting?
Just in case you were wondering, they didn't know we were honey badgers.
Yes, and on that note, glad you brought that up. Basically, they were looking for excuses to justify why the honey badgers were kicked out. They never actually came up with a reason. They wouldn't state a reason, especially since we were recording. But apparently they didn't seem to have a reason at all. There was disagreement amongst the people who were making accusations about why we were even kicked out. And yes, one of the things that they stated was that the Callgary Expo staff was tricked, because Allison had registered the Honey Badger booth under the Honey Badger name, Honey Badger stickers, Honey Badger brand, using a Xenospora email. And that was enough to make the staff go, oh, well, she was obviously part of trickery and witchcraft.
They didn't state that we were an explicitly pro-Gamergate organisation, and then we sprung it on them at the last minute by putting the words GG on a poster, and that triggered a bunch of people.
But even though everybody was wearing the frickin' Honey Badger tags, the point is, for one thing, fuck cops, and two, the point here was we were looking at an event that was promoting diversity, equality, free speech, and all of those things. But apparently, if you are not in line with an orthodox social justice mindset or anything that's politically fashionable generally, then you are a threat to safety and equality and all of these wonderful sounding things, and you can't be a part of the discussion. Well, excuse us. Holy shit. I have nothing else to say. What about you, man?
Me neither. I think we've covered it.
Well, thank you again to our patrons for offering all of the support that you could. Please do follow the story as it develops. There will be many, many more details. And again, if you want to see a better comic book convention, remember that the social justice narrative doesn't want us to have this conversation at all. So by all means, share, follow, do everything you can to help us out. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow, correct? Saturday?
Tomorrow between 12 and 5.
Tomorrow between 12 and 5. All right, thank you all so much. Victor Zen out.
Dr. Random account.